everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlong. And today, guys, we're looking at our way too early power rankings because there are still many free agents to sign, but we're going to get into it anyways. Before we do, like, subscribe, comment down below what's wrong with this list. I'm sure you guys have opinions. Okay, dude, before we get into number 10, because we're only going to do the top 10, nobody cares about the Pirates and the freaking other people and blah, 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 blah. Sorry, Pittsburgh. I do want to give an honorable mention to the one team that we just knocked off the list as we were talking about this prior. It is the San Francisco Giants. Big honorable mention.
Yeah.
I know they won 107 games last year. Blast us in the comments for it, please. But they have lost a lot of dudes.
Yeah, like key notable players are obviously Buster Posey, Chris Bryant, Kevin Gausman to us, the Toronto Blue Jays. But they did get back Woods. They did sign Cobb, but Cobb, he's okay. And then Desclafani. So, I mean, there are still some pieces of that team that's still there, but I don't know about 107 this year.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, maybe I'm showing a bit of disrespect. Maybe we're showing a bit of disrespect because it's also like I still couldn't believe that they did it last year with the team that they had anyway. So then it's like you lose your best players on top of that, and I'm like, oh, my God.
No, it's like, okay, now I'm really doubting you.
So they are off the list, but honestly, they have a good first few weeks. They'll definitely bounce back into that top 10.
Yeah.
With that being said, who we got at number 10?
Well, number 10, and these are the guys that we replaced them with, and that is the New York Yankees. And the Yankees are at number 10. Well, for me, quite frankly, it's like they haven't done anything yet. But they're still the New York Yankees. You still got Garrett Cole. You got some young prospects coming up in that rotation. And you also still got the big power bats. You still got Judge. You still got Giancarlo Stanton. So that team's got a lot of hitters, a lot of mashers. But for me, it's the big question mark with the pitching, the shortstop situation, the first base situation. Not really sure what's going on there, so I can't really get them any higher than 10.
I agree. And they also have a lot of guys in there as well that I think underperformed last year. And if DJ LeMahieu was up to snuff, if Gleyber Torres decides he's good again, if they do decide to play Luke Voigt, these are all guys that it's like they could come out and be really good, but they just weren't or didn't get enough playing time last year. And I think that's why they're a bit lower for us. They are going to get a dude like Luis Severino back. That's going to be a big help for them. But I mean, I think you need to go and get Trevor Story, and then we'll redo this and we'll talk.
I agree.
Numero 9.
Number 9.
We have another freaking person in our goddamn division.
It's a very common theme in this top 10.
Yes, it is. It is the Boston Red Sox, guys. And honestly, 9 seems a little bit low for them, just considering how far they did go in the playoffs. They were better than us. They were better than the Yankees, whatever. But again, they haven't been super duper active in the freaking free agency so far. And I think the biggest question for both of us last season anyways, and it did get better, but it was just that pitching staff as a whole. Yes, you have Chris Sale, but we've seen the injuries can add up there. And Eovaldi is good, but it's he's not top tier or anything. And then after that, it's who do you have, right? Because you lost Erod, and there's a bunch of blank holes there.
Yeah, they ended up picking up Rich Hill and James Paxton. So those are Band-Aid solutions. Those are Band-Aid solutions.
Yeah.
And they might work to, those two guys might, make up for the loss of Erod.
Maybe one of them hits.
Maybe one of them hits. You never know. But, they also got some other guys there that are really good. And then they also, they don't have Schwarber. And they also traded away Renfroe for Jackie Bradley. So that kind of downgrades the bat. But the Red Sox bats are so good. That is, without a question, a top 3 offense in my mind. Yeah. So that's going to be carrying them throughout the season.
Totally, dude. And honestly, if James Paxton decides to be a leader, and if they go acquire another pitcher, these guys could very easily be maybe even top 5 with the lineup that they already have if they get that pitching solidified.
I agree.
Numero 8. And we're in a tier, guys. We're in a tier right now. We attach numbers to them, but we are in a tier. There's a lot of question marks here, but a lot of positivity as well. We got the New York Mets. And literally, these dudes coming into last season, I think that they were in everybody's top 5.
Yeah,
everyone
100%,
had them in their top
100%.
5. And they haven't really lost too many people. They did lose some.
Yeah,
but you can argue that the guys that they've already brought in have at least replaced them and maybe even been better. So why do we have them all the way at number 8?
The reason why is just they sucked last year.
They sucked.
They literally just sucked. And it's like, okay, yeah, you lost a lot of guys. You lost Stroman. You lost Baez. You lost, well, they didn't really have Thor to begin with, but you lost him too. You lost Aaron Loop. It's like, but they did, like you were saying, get back Scherzer, who's an absolute beast. Escobar, Canna, and Marte.
Exactly. Like, that's underrated as hell.
Their lineup is going to be huge. But then again, we've always discussed, like, can you really buy a team? Like, we see some teams that when you buy them, they just don't have the chemistry. Like, obviously, Frankie Lindor, like, what happened there? Like, he struggled last year.
Yeah.
They have an absolute potential to be a top 5 team without a doubt, but they sucked, and they're building off of that. I'll be honest, that shitty year.
Yeah.
And it's like, we gotta see if it works. And I think it should. They should skyrocket if they have a good few weeks to begin.
Well, it's like, buying a team is so polarizing, right? Because you can have what happened to them last year and just like nobody's working, you're fighting in the dugout. But then you can also happen what just happened in the Super Bowl, and you get the LA Rams after they bought everybody and then they win the goddamn thing. So I think that is the New York Mets ceiling if they can figure it out, get some team chemistry, but we got to see it first.
And you know what? Maybe it's a culture thing too, because like where you said the Rams, like they probably got great clubhouse culture, and like we know there's a lot of drama going on with the Mets organization.
That is true.
So
hey, maybe management. They did bring in a new manager, right? It's like the Rams have a good manager as well. Maybe that's what they needed all along.
Exactly.
Numero 7. The team with the best manager in the MLB. Just kidding, but we actually posted a video on them.
We did.
Nice.
We like them.
It's the Toronto Blue Jays, guys. Big shout out to the squad. 7. What do we think about that? Is that good? I think it's a little bit too high, a little bit too low?
No, I think we're at a good place. I think we're at a good place. Like, yeah, we did lose Robbie Ray, Simeon, Matt, some big pieces. We did get Gosman, we did get Garcia, but I think like everybody in the league knows that like our foundation is so strong with our young core, even our young pitchers, our young bullpen, and hey, we might even add later, but this is pre-lockout. But I think there's like a lot of confidence around the league that like there's no doubt, like the Toronto Blue Jays collapse, like that's not probably going to happen. Like there would be like real question marks on how to rebuild a team after this if we collapse next year.
It does feel like everybody is looking on us very, very fondly, and I think that people realize that what happened last year was just an anomaly and kind of comedy of errors that probably shouldn't be going on again. It's like that's like a one season kind of thing that happens, and like we were getting unlucky. It's just like stuff wasn't going right. The bullpen was definitely bad, but it's just like there was just so much things. It's like that one play where Simeon doesn't make an error on freaking Miguel Cabrera. We're in the playoffs now. It's like there's just so much stuff like that happened in those 162 games that had us out of the playoffs. And I think that if we had made the playoffs, we won one more game, we'd probably be like way higher on everyone's power rankings.
And you look at the rotation, the lineup. Like now we have a three, maybe even 4 solid rotation if Ryu has a nice bounce back. And then the lineup is so deep. It's like,
thick.
And because we have this podcast, we're so critical over them. It's like, oh, they just need bullpen. Well, if they got a good bullpen, that's a pretty dang perfect team.
That's a pretty damn good team.
That's a top 5 team at least.
Could be. Yeah, exactly. However, there are a lot of good teams in the top 5. And moving on to our number 6 team, this is pretty low for them considering where they finished last year. But granted, they might lose their best player. And that's the Atlanta Braves right there. World Series champs. Number 6 on the power rankings. Is that disrespect?
No, not really. I mean, like you're a top 8 team. Like that means, hey, I consider you a playoff team. You can compete now. And the reason why they're at 6 and not number 1, it's because you look at the rosters, like the way the Atlanta Braves are built. Like their lineup's great. Lineup's great. If they get Freddie Freeman back, it'll still be great. Rotation's great too. Like it's pretty good. And then the bullpen, I know I'm not too familiar on it, so I can't speak about it. But it was good last year. But they just didn't seem to have the good winning team like during the regular season. You know what I mean? 89 wins.
This is very true.
Compared to other teams that are winning 100, 90 plus, so with that being said, it's like I can't really put them that higher when there's other teams ahead of them that have like just solid rosters and are doing it, and they've proved that they've done it in the regular season.
They are losing some of those rentals as well that they bought in on, some of those big bats. Granted, they will be getting Acuna back, so it's like that kind of makes up for that, and then some, you could argue. But I do agree, like there's some certainly question marks there. They got hot at the right time, and they could certainly win another World Series, no disrespect there, but we're going to have them at 6 for now. Numero 5 on this list. list. One of my favorite squads. If I wasn't a Blue Jay fan, I feel like I would cheer on this team. I don't know why. But it's the Milwaukee Brewers, baby.
They're a good team. They're a very exciting team.
Yeah.
I think they're also like kind of like my soft spot for a team out in the NL.
I feel like they just don't get enough love.
They don't.
You know, it's like, and that's, I think that's why I like them, because like we talk about the Braves all the time. We talk about the Mets. We talk about some other teams that we're going to get to later. But the Milwaukee Brewers, I just feel like nobody looks at them enough.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, damn, like, you're good.
We're highlighting now, and I think last year they kind of proved that, like, oh shoot, like how many games they win? Like 95 or something? Like it was like mid-90s or something.
Right there. 95. They won 95.
Yeah, like there you go. It's like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, you're in like one of the worst divisions in baseball, but still, like, that is a good team. And like, and the rotation solid, their bullpen solid. It's like if they can add a few more bats, and they did trade for Renfroe, so that's some pop.
They did trade for Renfroe.
They might make a bit of a boom
and
in the postseason.
I keep forgetting that they have this dude, but Christian Yelich is still Christian Yelich. If he could literally just bounce back and be half of what he was in 2018 or 2019, like that team to me is you could be top 3 sort of thing. Like they just need to have like one superstar to go along with some of their other big bats, and I feel like they'll be fine, bro, with that pitching rotation.
Yeah, they need the bats. Absolutely. Number 4, we got the Chicago White Sox, and I love the Chicago White Sox. When I was looking at the guys that are leaving the roster, the guys that they're getting, it's like really not that much. They lost. They're losing Rondon, and they got back Graveman. And think about that bullpen, that back half bullpen.
It's still amazing. It's still the best in baseball.
Amazing. Kendall Graveman, Craig Kimbrell, and Liam Hendricks. Like that is a dominant last 3 guys.
You don't want to if you get there and you're down by 2 runs, game over.
You're done.
Game over.
You're done.
Yeah.
And the lineup's amazing. The rotation is so good. You know, there's no like these guys are solidified in that. Like I said before, Toronto Blue Jays are trying to get to. They've solidified themselves in the top 5 of baseball.
Yeah, and you know, I always kind of forget about them that it's like they still have young dudes. It's like we still haven't seen the full breakout season of Louis Robert and like they're freaking Jimenez, right? It's like we haven't seen that full like crazy year that we all know is coming. Like Louis Robert was great when he was on the field.
Oh my god, when it happens, it's gonna be amazing.
Gonna be like, oh my god, right? And it's like if they can somehow find a way to get those guys doing what they're doing while they still have elite Tim Anderson, elite Jose Abreu, like this team's gonna be impossible to stop.
Yeah, I agree. Number 3 on this list, we've got the LA Dodgers, and you know that's a lower ranking that they're used to.
Number 3.
I know. They're used to number 1 or 2, but why number 3?
It's just the 2 pitchers that they lost for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like yes, you lost Corey Seager as well, but like I still look at your lineup as like arguably one of the best in baseball, right? But losing Clayton Kershaw
so far at least,
and Max Scherzer,
but definitely lost Max Scherzer.
It's just like, well, that is massive. Like those are 2 literal Hall of Famers right there. We still don't know what's going on with Trevor Bauer. Like I know that they're not going to be filing anything, but MLB was talking about maybe suspending him. Like I don't know. Like I'm not sure if he's going to be back there or not. So it's like with those question marks and the fact that Clayton Kershaw still isn't on your squad yet, you didn't even make him a freaking qualifying offer. It's like I don't know what's going on there, and that's why they're at number 3. But granted, like they're still going to win a lot.
Yeah, they're still going to win a lot of games.
Like,
a lot
of games.
And they're losing a bit of their bullpen too. Like Knievel, they've already lost. They might lose Kenley Jansen. Not too sure if they get him back or not. But yeah, like the roster is so deep. It's like we took away 3 superstars and your closer, and you're still going to compete and win 100 games probably.
I still forget. It's like they literally have guys on their roster like Cody Bellinger, who if he bounces back, it's like, oh my gosh, here's Cody Bellinger. I know that you don't have Corey Seager anymore, but you traded for Trey Turner last year. It's like you've got him, and it's like we haven't even really seen the whole breakout year of Gavin Lux yet. Is that ever going to come? It's like, now there's a spot.
You still have Mookie Betts, Max Muncy. You know, is Justin Turner still on the team? Justin Turner still on the team.
There are good players on that team that are going to mash, so it's like they'll be just fine. Number 2 on this list, we got the Houston Astros, and these guys have just been always up there for a long time. Granted, they are also losing some dudes, but this is just good managerial baseball because it feels like they have guys to fill in for those spots that they're losing.
You know, I can only wish that the Toronto Blue Jays not becomes them in the terms of cheating, but becomes them in the terms of the way that they built their organization. Because yes, you're right, they got back Verlander. They actually signed really sneaky Hector Neris, excuse me, who's basically a replacement for Graveman. And yeah, they are losing Correa, but like again, like is that going to be a big dent to that lineup? Nah, I don't know. Like, they still got good guys, and hey, they still could go make moves. But again, this is pre-lockout. But I still got trust in that rotation. It's so deep.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that they could be picking up Trevor Story.
They
If the
very
Yanks
well
don't
could
get
be.
it, it's just like, I still remember. Don't you remember they made that offer to Correa, $160 million?
Yep.
That's a perfect offer for Trevor
perfect
Story.
for Trevor
You know, it's
Story.
just like, oh no, like we downgraded from Carlos Correa to Trevor Story.
They're kind
Like,
of the same,
it's
honestly,
like pretty
in my
much
opinion.
the same goddamn player, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, so I think that'd be perfectly fine if they go and do that. And even if they don't, they're still going to be awesome. How long have they been good for now? Like 5-6 years?
26. I feel like 2015, 2016,
Was
they
when it
started
was
to
like the
get,
come
like,
up
they
is
started to,
like-
like, come up and get
yeah,
exciting.
exactly.
But yeah, it's been a while, guys.
Like, shout out to that management. I know that they cheated. Like, I know that
I know,
happened.
I know.
But it's like, for real, it's like they are looking at like approaching a decade now of
Yeah.
like being in the top 5 of baseball teams. That is hard to do.
And I
So,
think they
like,
will be. They
I do
will
think
be.
so. Yeah, I do think so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number 1 now, finally on this list. Pains me, pains him to say it. I really want this to be wrong. I want to be 3 weeks into the season and be knocking these guys down far and far away. But it's just hard to do it with the amount of games that they win on the roster that they have, with the coach that they have. Number 1 is the Tampa Bay Rays.
It's the Tampa Bay Rays. And the reason why they're still there, because, yeah, they won over 100 games last year. They actually got Corey Kluber on the rotation. They also got, like, a bullpen guy, Rayleigh, as well. And, yeah, they lost Cruz, but, like, Cruz wasn't, like, a huge dent to their lineup, because their lineup is so sick now. And especially that extension of Wander Franco. Like, you already know that club's going to have massive, like, big D energy coming into next season.
Absolutely, you know, and for the longest time now, for the past like 2 or 3 years, they've been good. And we've been like, who's on that team? Now it's like, oh, I do know who's on that team. You actually have players that can hit baseballs, which has been the thing for the longest time, right? I remember 2 years ago when they had Blake Snell, they had Charlie Morton. It's like they've kind of, they're changing their team around a bit, and it's like they're almost becoming more offensive minded.
Yeah.
But Kevin Cash is like, we're still good at pitching because I'm really good at math and I can do freaking baseball and stuff.
Exactly. Like, they know how to handle their pitching staff. And, like, they're like, oh, wait, we don't, like, yeah, they don't have Glasnow probably for I think the whole season.
Yeah,
he's gone for the whole season.
Yeah. He's still being talked about traded, actually.
Wow,
potentially.
crazy. But hey, you got Corey Kluber, and if you can do an experiment with Corey Kluber, make him really great again,
Probably
like, cool.
they will.
They
Yeah,
probably will. So
exactly.
that's why they're
So-
number 1, because they just keep winning.
Literally, but there is our power rankings, guys, for the top 10 teams in baseball, sort of like lockout again. So I don't even know what this is at this point. But comment down below what you think about this stuff. We will be doing another one right before the season does occur, when all the free agents get signed. So things probably get shifted when that does happen. Let us know your thoughts.
And you can also check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, and Breaker. Also, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And also, today, Jays is our code for Monkey Knife Fight. Use that code to sign up and get discounts and deals on Monkey Knife Fight. It's a great betting app. We'll be betting along the season with you guys. Super, super fun. And as well, it's $3 a month to become a Patreon. Shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon members. You guys are the reason that we keep going, and you guys keep on supporting the Blue Jays Today channel.
Thank you so much for watching.
And go,
Go
Jays,
Jays, go.